Me and my husband both grew up in Kent. When we got married in 2010, we moved to Birmingham, where Gav was a youth worker and I trained to be a primary school teacher. After that, we actually went to India to work out there, where we thought we would be long term, and we ended up having to come back and decided that it wasn't the right place for us to be, as my husband got very unwell while we were out there. So we came back not really sure what God's plan was for our lives. We didn't have any jobs or a home to come back to, and we're just really trying to discern where God wanted us to be. We thought that was going to be in Birmingham. We wanted to do youth work, and we wanted to choose to live in an area where we really believed that God wanted to bring hope, and where people maybe didn't have as many opportunities to hear about Jesus. And then we're exploring different options around here, and then heard about Eden. Eden sends teams of people into the bottom 10% of deprived areas in the UK and now across the world, to live alongside their neighbours, working in the community, just sharing their lives with them, sharing who Jesus is with them, often with a focus on young people and children and families.
Something that's really drawn me to do this and made me want to do it is reading and hearing about Jesus' love for the poor. When you look through scripture, you can't escape it. He loves the people that are hardest to love, the most broken, the most hurting, and that's what Eden aims to do. They want to love like Jesus loved and get alongside people, and so actually once I realised I couldn't cut that out of my Bible and escape it, I'm a very much all or nothing person, and so this is all and I'm going for it.
They were showing us around places in Birmingham, and because Walsall was so close by, they said, we'll take you to see St Peters as well. And I just remember we came to St Peters to the drop-in service on a Wednesday evening, and it was just this huge sense of relief, I think, for us, that we felt like we were in a church that was so focused on looking outwards into the community, and also so welcoming to anybody who walked through the doors. And it immediately just made sense to us that this is a church where we could do Eden and it would work so well.
We initially started coming to organise Mia's christening, but on the journey to get there we've met some fantastic people. Married to Peter, he found coming to church difficult at the start because he'd never been to church before. He didn't know what to expect. Myself, I'd only ever really been for christenings and funerals and weddings. I'd never really sat through a service properly, with all the readings and the sermons and things, so that was a little bit different. But I've got to understand what they all mean now, and it's kind of good. I can kind of relate to some of it. The congregation's so nice, they're so lovely, made us feel so welcome from day one. It's helped a lot with Ethan, I think. It's settled Ethan a lot down, because Ethan has a lot of issues with different things, but it's his one constant that he likes. So it's been a good change. I feel like I'm part of the family now, and it's nice to know that there's other people there that I can talk to, I can turn to.
I've been at St Peters a couple of weeks, so I've only recently moved up to the area from Devon. So I'm also studying theology and mission. I'm just started my second year, and that is in Bourneville, just the other side of Birmingham, and I do that 2 days a week, and I have a placement alongside that, and that's what I'm doing with Eden, and it works really well.
We have committed to making this part of Walsall our home for as long as possible, to live in this area, to get to know our neighbours, to make friends with the people that live here, because we love them and we value them too, and we're in the same situation as them, really.
Yeah, the aim is to see people transformed, to see Jesus change lives, to see Jesus change communities and marriages and families. So that's Eden, that's the vision.
When we first moved to Walsall, we started off by doing a lot of detached youth work, so we'd go to our local park at least twice a week with a football and frisbee and basketball and craft activities and some other games that we took with us, and just got to know young people that were around in the community and started to get chatting with them and sharing who we were and where we live, which is just down the road, and just shared with them that we're part of St Peters Church and that there are things that they can get involved with here. We did a lot of just making sure we were outside, really, on our street, drinking cups of tea outside and playing games in our front garden with young people that live in our road, and just building relationships with the young people that live in this area, starting to hear their stories and hear how it is for them to live here, hear the things that they love about living here and some of the challenges, the lack of opportunities for young people around here. There's quite a lack of youth provision, so a lot of them have said that they've been bored and don't feel like they have much to get involved with here. So part of what we've started doing is putting on more community events and running a youth group that the young people have had quite a big say in how that looks and what sort of things we run and the trips that we go on. So that's become a weekly thing, running a youth group, and we hope to do about 5 or 6 community events every year as well that the whole community is invited to.
Hi guys, it is Ebony and I'll be talking to you about God today. So, the one thing we have learned about God is that He loves everyone, and even if you do bad things, He still loves you. So bye guys! Dad.
After we had been here for a few months, we decided to do a Christmas party, and at that we had about 6 young people. And then the next year we were really fortunate to partner with WHG, the local housing provider, who helped us put on a really good Christmas event, and we had about 40 people came to that. And since then we've done another community event in the summer, and we had just over 100 people at the community hall, all joining in with different activities and hearing about Jesus and responding to prayer. And one girl gave her life to Jesus at that event, which was just amazing to see that happening in our hall. We didn't think that so many people would start coming through the doors so soon. And through those events and the relationships that we've got with the young people, more children and young people are coming to church on a Sunday as well. And we've started to see parents coming along as well. Some of the children have said to their parents, "We love going to church, you should come too."
Lyle's made me promise that I'll come to church Sunday. Now that I've met more people in the church, because last week I come to the Macmillan and there's faces I've never seen before, and they was really welcoming me. They had an hold of the baby, made me feel really, really comfortable, so I've got nothing to worry about or be scared of now. So yeah, I'm coming Sunday at 10 o'clock. I've got to put all my veg on Saturday night. So I've not got to rush about and rush back home to the kids' food, which isn't my normal routine.
That's just really exciting to see the impact of the work with the children and the young people actually start to reach whole families as well. So we've started a group called Rooted, focused on parents and carers in this community, where they're invited to come hear more about what happens in church and do some activities together that they can also do at home with their children as well. Over the last 2 years we have been going into Walsall College at least once or twice a week. We've built a really good relationship with the staff there, and they have been really welcoming to us. They've invited us to be part of any of their events, and we run a drop-in there and are able to pray with young people. We've also been able to invite several bands into the college from the Message Trust, so we've had Vital Signs and Brightline who have run workshops and also really big events in the atrium in the college, where we've had over sometimes 100 to 200 students come and hear their music and the gospel preached in the college, which has been amazing. And that work is starting to change now to still going in once a week, but also running some workshops that young people can sign up to. And we've also recently, as an Eden team, we've started to partner with a charity called TLG, who have trained us as early intervention coaches for children who are at risk of exclusion, because that's a big issue that many children and young people face in our community. So many of them have really struggled with education and school and have found themselves being excluded and sort of missing out on some education. So we're really hoping to get into schools and start preventing that, with just to help young people who are struggling a bit at home and struggling with education, and just having that one person once a week to speak to about the things that they are going through and the issues that they're facing. I think that living as part of an Eden team, it is countercultural to the way that many people would live. We choose to live in areas where there aren't so many opportunities, and there are challenges around. You can see that quite obviously in the street sometimes, with issues around addiction. There's a lot of injustice really in this area about the opportunities that people lack, and just trying to fight with people for things that should be their right, like good housing and good education. And sometimes that can feel overwhelming, the amount of need that there is, because there's so much potential, there's so much we could be doing. So it's sometimes about getting the balance of realising what we can do as individuals and trusting the rest to God, knowing that He is doing amazing things in so many different ways. I think we've also gained a lot from living here. I think we've gained so much. The people that we live with in our street are so kind and welcoming. They bring us food. Lots of different families on our street have brought food round for us, have been just great friends. Some of our neighbours have helped us massively with our garden when we don't know what we're doing, like cutting our hedge for us, and just I think it's such a good sense of community that is growing as people become friends. So there are some challenges, but I think we gain so much more through doing Eden here in Walsall.
Coming here is something different. I really love it. It's a whole mixture of things, and you have a whole load of people from the estate who haven't grown up in church their whole lives, along with people who've come from the church plant and are really, really passionate about this area and this church, and then as well as the people who've been really faithful serving in St Peters for years, and it's just an amazing collision of worlds.
More and more children and young people have come through the doors, sometimes causing chaos, but it's beautiful at the same time, and they are loved and welcomed and made to feel such a valuable part of the family here.